Okay, we're going to talk about place value with decimals and more importantly, what something is worth. Now, whenever you're trying to find out what something's worth, one of the biggest things even I have with fifth graders is knowing when to add zeros, or even when people are older, when to add zeros and when they're not needed. And the thing I always ask students to think about is think about it with money. If it doesn't change the value of it is, you don't have to have those zeros. So let's take a couple problems and I'll make it up off the top of my head. We have 7, 2, 3, 8, 4, 2, 6, 1.89. And let's say that I'm going to try to find this place value in red and try to see what it's worth. Well, I know that there is a 2 in the place value, so I know my starting number. What place value is it in? Well, it's in my ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s, millions. So you can ask yourself two things. Okay, well, what is 2 million worth? How would I write that with zeros? Or you can just change all of these whole numbers to zeros. So 2, that 3 is going to be a 0, 8 is going to be a 0, 4 is going to be a 0, 2 is going to be a 0, 6 is going to be a 0, and 1 is going to be a 0. And I could go back and put my commas, and that is 2 million. Now somebody's going to say, well, why would you not put a 0.00? Well, if I was to take out these zeros, it's still $2 million. If I was to take out this 0, it's not $2 million anymore. It's now $200,000. So that 0 I just crossed out, this one right here, that's going to change the value if I take it away. But I could put zeros all the way out to here forever and ever until I run out of screen, and it's not going to change the value. It's still just going to be a plain old $2 million. But if I was to take this exact same number, and instead of doing it in red, I'd say, okay, looking at this in green, what place value is that 9 in? Well, that place value, there is a 9 that's underlined, and it is 2 place values after the decimal. But what do I put in this open spot? Well, if I was to put a 0, that keeps it as 900ths. If I leave that 0 out, it just looks like a big old space between my 0.9, which would be 9/10. So that 0 is exceptionally going to change the answer. So let's do another one. I'll do another problem where I have less holes and I have more decimals. 3. Now let's say, okay, well, what place value is this 5 in? Well, it's in the thousandths place. How would I need to write that down? Well, I need to say 5's my starting number. So 5 is my starting number. And I know my decimals all the way over here, because I'm just kind of putting it up under it. I need to change this 3 to a 0. I need to change this 6 to a 0, and there's my 5. Now somebody's going to say, well, do I need to put those zeros at the end? No. Not only is it going to look goofy, but it's not going to change my value. That is 5 thousandths. Really, that's 5 thousandths too. It's just an ugly or weird way to organize it. And somebody's going to say, well, Mr. Person, do I need to change these to zeros? You can, but that doesn't change the monetary value. That's like saying, okay, I've got 0 $10,000 and 0 $1,000 and 0 $100 bills and 0 $10 bills and 0 $1 bills. Well, really, all you have is 5 thousandths. You don't need to tell me about all the money you don't have. So think about it as money and try to remember, when do you add your zeros and when do you not.